Hi, Amy. How are you this week?
I am doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm good. How was school?
Lots of assignments as usual.
Yeah, you always say that, huh? How did your AIM test go last Thursday?
I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, did you feel like you remembered everything we talked about?
Yeah. The ear training was a little weird because the Wi-Fi speed is different. So sometimes it'll go slower, sometimes it'll go faster.
Oh, yeah. Was it okay that it was like a recording, or did you think it was going kind of fast?
I think it was pretty fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I think it was okay though. I think I didn't look over your sheets too much, but I think you did good. Okay, well, let's get started on your piece. So you were playing German dance in F major.
Mm-hmm.
How did that go? How did practicing this go?
Pretty well. Sometimes on the left hand, I forget that it's just the three notes and then going back to the same thing.
Yeah, that's tricky, huh? Why don't you play through this for me and then we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Very good. I think you were getting most I think you were getting the left hand notes pretty good, and a lot of your thirds were really good. And also the slurs were like in the second part where it's kind of a big jump, you got those notes. So that was really good. For the left hand, if you have trouble remembering, that it goes back and forth, and sometimes like at the end of measure one and then the beginning of measure two, it's like the same one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One way you can practice that is to block each of the beats. So you can start out by playing F and C, then A and C, then F and C. So can you just play me like the first couple of lines doing that in the left hand? Yeah, really good. And I think too, when you play it like that, you can kind of hear how there's a little melody going on in the
Yeah.
like. Yeah, so if you ever have any sort of left hand like that where you're getting confused about which notes to play, try blocking it and then you can see which ones go together and how many times they're repeated. I have a question for you about this piece, which this something that's really hard to tell over Zoom is the pedaling, but it sounded like you were using the pedal for it. How much were you pedaling? Were you reading the what it has written, or were you just doing your own thing?
Uh, I was doing what it was doing. Sometimes I got a bit mixed up though.
Yeah, there's a couple times when I noticed you doing it. So this piece, at the bottom, it says that the pedal markings are editorial. And this is just my personal opinion, but I don't think you necessarily need to pedal all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. Especially, you have to be careful too when you're pedaling because there's two note slurs, a lot of them, and a lot of times it was holding the second note. So the pedaling is mainly to make sure that the slurs are smooth. I think that's why they put it in there. So can you show me how you were playing in measure one, that first slur? Can you just show me how you play that? Yeah. And can you also show me measure nine, that one that's the bigger one?
Uh,
Yeah, those ones are harder. So let's look at those ones. So this piece, it's called German dance, but it doesn't tell us what kind of dance. So let's just for a second assume that this is a waltz, because a waltz is in 3/4, right? Do you know what waltz means? Yeah. I'm guessing you don't. I just learned this, but waltz comes from the German verb waltzen, which means to roll, turn, or glide. So when you're doing those slurs, you don't want to just keep your hand in the same place. Like if you played all 3 of them at once, you don't want your hand to be like that. It helps if you kind of roll your wrist just slightly. Can you move your wrist like this, like from side to side? Yeah. So I want you to try playing just the 2 notes of that slur in measure 9 back and forth, and I want you to roll your wrist like a lot when you do it. Yeah, and just like really move your wrist from side to side. Yeah, and can you go back and forth and just repeat it? Yeah. So when you play those slurs, you don't have to do it. You don't want it super big. It's just like a little thing, but kind of think like if you're playing a waltz, like the roll, just have like a slight little movement so your hand's not in the same place, because that makes it tight, and then it's really hard also because you're reaching for both of the notes, but that way you can just, it's easier to play both of them. So why don't you try that, just the right hand on line 3, and show me all of those slurs. Yeah, that sounded much better. And just make sure you're lifting up on the second note of the slur. Why don't you play that one more time? Yeah, that was really awesome. And if you do that, I don't think you necessarily need to use the pedal right there if that's throwing you off. And especially because we want that second note to be light and you weren't always getting that. Yeah, that sounded really good. One more thing I want to talk about. How did you feel about playing the repeated thirds?
In the right hand?
Yeah, just all those times where you had thirds and you were either repeating them or switching between different thirds. How was that for you?
I think it was pretty good. I didn't really mix up the right hand.
Yeah. I noticed in measure 4, there is a, can you just play me the right hand for measure 4 with the ornament? Yeah, so is that, just make sure that you're getting that on the beat when you play it, because when you played it before, it was slightly before. And one thing that can help you with that is another wrist thing. So instead of just like trying to play it with your hand in one spot, kind of move your wrist just like forward just a little bit. Yeah, can you play that one more time? Sorry, I couldn't hear. Yeah, so just make sure make sure when you play this, you're not moving your hands just around a little bit, so you're not trying to play it all from the same position, I guess. And then lastly, let's talk about dynamics. So what is the form of this piece without the repeats, just if you played it straight through?
A, B.
Yeah, so there's 16 measures. So the first line would be like A, right? And then the next line is almost the same thing. So you could say it's A or A prime because it's slightly different. Then line B is, the third line is B because it's completely different. And then what would the last line be?
A.
Yeah. So when you have like that A section that's repeated 3 different times, you should try to play the dynamics slightly differently every time. So it starts off piano, and then for the second line, you can either switch to mezzo mezzo piano and get slightly louder, or pianissimo and get really quiet. So which way do you think would sound better?
A bit louder.
A bit louder. And then on line 3, you'd get even louder because the dynamic is what?
Mezzo forte.
Yeah. And then for the last part, where you repeat A again, what do you think we should do?
I think we should go softer.
Softer. So piano again, like the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you just play me your right hand through the whole thing? And so the first line's piano, the second line's mezzo piano, the third line is what?
Mezzo forte.
And then the last line is?
Piano.
Yeah, so just play me your right hand and do all of those dynamics. Yeah, I think you could get even softer on that last line. So can you play the last line one more time and play it piano? Yeah, really good. So yeah, just remember to make sure on the slurs that you're lifting the second note like we talked about. But yeah, I think that piece is sounding really good, Amy. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. So keep practicing it. Yeah, practice. You can practice that wrist thing for any time you have big jumps like that. So yeah, have a good week and I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
All right, now it's my turn. You did really good on that song, by the way. It sounded great. Okay, so I wasn't really paying attention if she asked you this or not, but did you do anything fun this week? Any fun activities or anything other than school?
Yesterday we went outside to walk.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it was really nice weather outside yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, so this piece, Gypsy Dance. Before we start, I wanted to ask you, so what are a few things that you feel like you're comfortable with on the song or that you're doing good on? And what are a few things that are like confusing to you or that you think you need help with?
I think the right hand is good most of the time. And then in the left hand on like the second part, it's a bit funky.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird. But at least for once, your left hand doesn't have any like crazy, I don't know, eighth note rhythm
Yeah.
like that. It's all just quarter notes. So that's nice, right? Okay, well, let's just try to play through the song. You don't have to worry about the repeats.
Okay.
Very nice, very nice. You had a really good steady rhythm and you got all the sharps and stuff like that. Sometimes the sharps can be weird and stuff. How do you feel that you did? Do you feel it went well?
I think it's went pretty okay.
Sounded really good. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to go over with is the ornamentation. So you got like the grace note looking things like in measure 3, so and I wanted to ask you, so if you notice it has a letter B above it, have you noticed how at the bottom of the page it has a letter B that corresponds to it and it shows you like another rhythm that you could do it as?
Oh. No.
It's like how they put those in. So the way that you did it is kind of like a grace note, which is one way that you can do it, and I think it sounds good that way too, but this might actually make your life a little simpler. So for the first one, the one that's in measure 3, and then the second line, measure 7.
Mhm.
So how it has it at the bottom of the page, it's just as all 16th notes. So instead of this, you can do it as. So if I was like,
Oh.
so like, so then they'd all be the same, which makes your life easier, right? So let's try the first line with it like that as all 16th notes. So just the first line.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. So there's one way that you can do it. Why do you think that they have a separate way written in on how to do it instead of like how it's written at first?
So you can choose which way you like it better.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer for that, actually. Sometimes the composers just feel like having it a different way, or actually the markings at the bottom of the page are, I think, what like the person that wrote this book kind of their opinion on how it should be played. So it's just people play it differently. So if you like it better, like I don't think it sounds bad, but it would make your life easier probably to just right?
Yeah.
Okay, for the second one, so the letter C one that's in measures 10 and 14, how it has it at the bottom of the page is kind of a fast rhythm. So it's the 2 30-second notes, a 16th note. So yeah, it'd be kind of like. So if I was doing that entire measure, it would be like 1 E and so let me see if I can do slow. I was gonna try sharing my screen. I wrote out these rhythms on like a music notation thing and then wrote out counting with them. So it was just the notes and you didn't have to look it up on here. So maybe it would have made it easier, but I can't share my screen. So I won't do it that way. But you seemed to be able to do the 30-second notes at the end of the piece just fine. Do you understand like 30-second notes and how they fit in with like 16th notes and 8th notes? I know it can get kind
Yeah.
but yeah, it'd just be like not a good way to count it. So 1 E and so that's one way you can do it. How about let's try measures measures 9 and 10. So the first two measures in the second section. Trying it like that. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, pretty good. One other thing, real fast, that will make your life easier. I noticed that you did this a few times. So in measure 9, that last beat in the right hand is only so if you were counting just the right hand of that measure, it'd be 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and you're kind of doing it as like a little bit faster, so like 1 E and 2 E and like something like that. That's kind of exaggerating. So let's try. So just measure 9, doing the right hand by itself. Try like counting out loud while playing
it. 1 E and 2 E and oh.
Yeah, so it's just that 1/8 note. Let's try it one more time.
1 E and 2 E and 2 E and wait, 2 E and
One more. Let's do one more time. Let's see if we can get it.
1 E and 2 E and
Yeah, pretty good. So like if you were doing it with the left hand with it, it makes it a little bit easier because the left hand does the like one beat. So 1 E and so 1 E and 2 E and so let's try it with both hands. Yeah, pretty good. Just make sure you watch that and try not to play it too fast. Okay, so that's one way that you can do that ornament. The next way that you can do that ornament is just how you did it above. So doing them all as 16 notes. So that measure would be like. Does that make sense? So you're doing it just how you did the first one, where you did all together that way. So let's do measures 9 and 10. Let's doing it as 16 notes. Yeah, let's do it one more time. Good, very good. All right, so that's the second way that you can do it. And or I guess third way, since you can do it like that. Anyways, so I'm going to let you choose which way that you want to play it. You can either do it as like the 16th notes, or you can do it as the 32nd notes. Which way do you want to try doing it? Like which way sounds?
Maybe try this 16th, 32nd.
The 32nd note. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one does sound good. Okay, so how about let's try doing just the second section then. So measures 9 to the end with doing those two ornaments as 32nd notes. Very nice. That sounded good. It's kind of fun that way, right? Yeah, I like it that way at least. All right, so there's the ornamentation and rhythm part of it, and I think you got that down. Now I wanted to go over a little bit of dynamics. If you notice, this piece actually has quite a bit of dynamics written in. Like at the beginning, you'll start out forte and then crescendo to fortissimo and kind of stay that way until the end. And then when you repeat, it has the F dash P at the top of the page, or like the beginning of the song. So what does that mean?
The second repeat to piano.
Yes. So the second time you start off soft, and then you can have really fun and do a very big crescendo on the second time. And then the second section, like you start out loud, and then it goes smoothly to quiet. Kind of like an echo, and then loud again. So let's try doing the first section. So start out loud and then try doing a crescendo to the second line. Yeah, that was pretty good. So one thing, it's fine if you want to do the ornamentation as that, but if you want to do it the easier way as the 16th notes, you can do it that way too. I'll leave it up to you. Okay, but for the crescendo, so when I hear like the right hand part, it kind of seems like it's growing by itself anyways as it's going up. At least to me, so it's going out forte, and then you can kind of hear like. So it kind of seems like it's growing like by itself. So maybe think about that while you're playing it. Let's try just the first line. You can even start out a little bit softer if you want, just to try to make sure that you grow it. So like, oops, sorry. Anyways, so let's start out maybe a little bit softer and then try to grow it. Yeah, that was better. Yeah, so you can have fun with that. Let me see, what else was I gonna look at? Okay, let's look at the second section, doing the dynamics on that section. So one cool thing about this is how like it starts out loud and then immediately goes quiet. So like I think that sounds pretty cool. Like you're having fun and then it's like an echo. So let's try just that third line, doing it like that. Try making it loud at the first part and then echo in the second part. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do you like it that way? You like having the dynamic contrast? Makes it interesting.
Yes.
I have a question for you. So the title of it is Gypsy Dance. What kind of dance would you picture, like when hearing the song? Like what kind of dance do you picture in your head? Oh, that's
More
kind of,
mysterious.
yeah, more mysterious. It's kind of weird dance if you think about it. Like it doesn't really have like the waltz kind of feel like the 1 2 3 1 2 3 or anything like that. It's just kind of like a, yeah, it's very mysterious and weird. So I think that you could do a little more with that. You can even add that into the dynamics, like starting out mysterious. You can even do more crescendos and deep crescendos if you want to, just to make it sound a little mysterious and stuff. Let's see, what else was I going to go over? If you were practicing this another week, I'd probably recommend that you like either write out the rhythms in like the third line. So where you have the 30-second notes and stuff, try to write out those rhythms and then practice like counting them out loud and like clapping them. Or I don't know, you could just do it on one note. Just trying to make sure that you get all those steady, and like if you have a metronome, practice it with that. But since you won't be practicing this another week probably, maybe just take that example and like I guess you could try to apply it to other songs and stuff like that. Or like with the ornamentation, just know that like sometimes composers will write things in, but there are multiple ways to play it, if that makes sense. Do you have any questions about this piece? I hope that I helped you on it. Do you feel
I don't think so.
good? You sounded really good. Like
Yeah.
sounds good. All right. Well, I think we're out of time then, sadly. This has been fun. You did a good job. All right. See you later.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.